Welcome back to the DreamHack Masters Winter. It is going to be G2 Esports versus Nemiga to kick things off. And this one is probably going to be rather fiery indeed. And we're going to tell you why in just a moment. My name is Frankie Ward. I am joined by Scrawny and Launders to take you through the action today. And right now, we're going to take you through the Group A bracket so you can see what the competition is like for the playoffs. All right, gentlemen, lean in. Tell me your predictions. We've got Heroic Spirit. They are going to be fighting for that first playoff spot.
Yeah, we'll see about Heroic because they lost to Mouse. The confidence might be up and down. They struggle sometimes versus non-tier 1 competition recently. Spirit looked very good coming off their win versus FaZe. We don't know how much that was FaZe beating themselves or Spirit making them look rough. And then we go down to Complexity Gambit.
Complexity Gambit. Obviously, Complexity coming in great form. Config looks fantastic. And Gambit have a tournament victory already underneath their belt with a win over Cloud9, starting to put distance between them and the other kind of top 20 to 10 teams. So I think that's an interesting game. We take a look at the lower bracket. Contact, Underdogs versus FaZe, the Walking Wounded. If FaZe sustain another loss down in the first round of the lower bracket, then I think there are actual issues with some of the individuals. ENCE versus Cloud9, that's actually just a fun, exciting game that we'll get to later today.
And let's take a look at Group B, because that's where we're going to see our next two teams.
Okay, so over here on Group B, Godsent Mouse, the storyline of Godsent beating Astralis. That's a huge victory. Sticko going up against some of his former colleagues on Mouse. I don't think anyone's actually left from the team that he played on at that point, except for Chris J, of course, who's been in there for 7 years, an absolute lifer on Mouse. So that'll be an interesting match to see if that can come close. Another test for Mouse as we learn more about them, their playstyle, and the integrity of their level compared to Tier 2 teams. And then we move down to Nemiga Nemiga G2, excuse me, where it should be an easy win for G2, but this is a real test for Nemiga, who have been making waves recently, and of course, Furia North, where Furia will get a chance to play against a European team, which we haven't seen too much of yet.
Well, if you're curious about Furia versus North, apologies for cutting you off, Scrawny. You can check out the B stream right now, twitch.tv/DreamHackCS2. Say hello to Tom Biz and Vince for us.
The Toxic Bald.
The Toxic Bald and the Big V. Although when his Discord goes wrong, he turns into Baby V, which is absolutely adorable. But we're going to talk about two teams that are definitely not adorable. They are absolutely ferocious. They are powerhouses of fire. That phrase is going to catch on. I'm just going to keep working on it. But we want to talk about G2 first, because there is, Scrawny, you can judge me on this one. C'est l'éléphant dans la chambre. Parce que Jax or Amanek?
The elephant in the room, Jax or Amanek. Which one's going to show up? Which one's going to perform? I think Amanek and Jax are in this interesting position, right? Because G2 have made it clear that they don't necessarily want to field that 6-man roster like Vitality does. So these guys are playing for a lot. And I think Amanek's a very difficult player to replace. So him and Jax just kind of, they are not the same type of beast.
It's tough. I mean, they went through the fall series. It looked incredible with Amanek. They won, and then they played IM Beijing with Jax, and he didn't do too hot, and they didn't win. And I think that contrast is what's going to lead G2 to leaning more towards Amanek. Unfortunately for Jax, I actually think he was a key part of this roster rise. Their ability to score a player like Nico brought a lot of attention and results to the roster, but Amanek has shown that he is such a hard player to replace, such a unique play style, does so much on all of their T sides, and it seems like can also really carry a team on just straight up fragging potential alone.
It is a difficult decision. Although Jax is listed as a sub for this event, G2 so far, they haven't tended to switch one out between matches or even maps, so it's normally a case of them testing out that player for the whole event.
Full event, yeah.
I would be very, very surprised if we saw Jax competing here, because G2 still have another couple of events after this one, and then they're going to make their decision at the end of 2021. Amanek is kind of an Emmy, I guess. This is the theme of the day, because he can do anything. He can fill that support role. He can also enter it. You give him a Mac 10. He's going to shred the hell.
Maybe not quite as good. Okay, Amanek does an IGL, so that's one thing.
Okay, you know what? Okay, so say Amanek does an IGL. But one of the things that when Nexa came into the team was difficult for Amanek was second calling. And suddenly he's like this third voice, I guess. So one of the things that happened when they went sort of French-Serbian was Amanek actually had to speak less. So I would say that if Amanek was to leave this team, he could go into an IGL role. I think he's actually a very valuable player, as you say, which is why G2 are not going to want to lose him. But what happens to Kenny S if Jax leaves?
He loses his best friend. That's the reality of the situation. Jax and Kenny S have a hell of a bromance.
They do.
You know, G2...
I've heard he's very funny.
He is hilarious.
Yeah.
He is absolutely hilarious, and he's hilarious in English. It's difficult to be funny in your second language. Jax has such a...
He's way funnier in French.
Yeah. Oh man.
No, c'est pas drôle.
This guy fried me. Jax is funny. If he leaves, Kenny S, I think he can still technically do his job, but I think that they do lose a little bit of character, and I think character is actually something that's very valuable within rosters.
And before Nico came to the roster as well, Jax was like the best friend of Hunter on the server, if not outside it. Obviously, him and Kenny BBF forever. But so Hunter loved working with Kenny, with Jax, because he could just say, right, I want you to go here, and I'm just going to follow you, and it always tended to work for them, at least during their glory days. Maybe those glory days are behind them, but I have a feeling not, because they now have Nico on the team, and we decided to catch up with Mr. Kenny S to find out how it's going.
The most important is to actually be focused on ourselves and making sure that we are doing better than the games we played before. I actually think that we are one of the best team in the tournament.
Kenny readies himself, evades the flash and finds the first as Form more advancing towards his position. Tucked in, finds another on the cross, just a slither gap held, and Kenny advancing, hunting, and he's got himself another one. Kenny, yes, finish it off with style.
We want to do the best possible. We always want to win, and we are allowed to dream, you know?
Let's talk about Nico then. We've been talking about the long-standing members of G2. He's come from FaZe, and basically they've given him all the roles he used to do on FaZe.
Yeah, I thought first, like, I was paying attention to some of the spots from before Nico came in, where Hunter and Nexa were both taking some of the high frag positions. Nico kind of just took all of them, and I really wanted Hunter to have more space. But again, Nico is going to be the best player on basically any line he comes into, so it makes sense that they work around him, and he's been delivering. He's been absolutely phenomenal, hit the ground running. There's really no question marks about whether or not Nico's fitting in well. He is.
So if Amanek is entry fragging, what are we going to see Nexa doing?
What are we going to see Nexa doing? That's a great question.
Not that he was entering before, but I'm just curious.
Right. I don't know.
More of the same, really. It doesn't really change.
More of the middle pack.
Yeah, it doesn't really change the roles for him. Amanek plays a very unique role on T side, where he can be both a lurk and an entry. Throws a lot of the specific grenades they use. But Nico now is just like a third-in guy. Nexa will be just like holding B flanks on some maps, or like whatever. I mean, they don't have to change much around that.
Well, let's talk about their opposition, Nemiga. I know that these guys are a bit of an unknown proposition for you, because they're kind of from that, they're skirting around the tier 2 scene, CIS
Top
scene.
21, I think, right now.
Yeah. So they did play at DreamHack Open November recently, but on the first day they had a stand-in for 2 of their players, in fact. And then when they got when they got Geo back, I can't remember who was who. Oh, I'm so sorry. When they got Speedak back, apologies, when they got their AWPer back. Speedak looked a little bit like he needed a bit of a refresher. He wasn't quite warmed up really during the whole event. And Forrester was actually playing him for Lollipop, and Lollipop is their strongest player. And one of the things that we noticed with Forrester, and I guess obviously Lollipop is serving the same role, is that if he doesn't get the entries, then the team doesn't really know what to do.
From the little I've seen of Speedak, he was incredible. So I think what you brought in for me is context about how he can be very inconsistent. Would you also agree that his higher level is very high?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that I haven't seen enough of Nemiga really to say, but if he's going to come into this one cold, then they are absolutely going to have an issue. But really, all the pressure is on Lollipop. I would say Geo is incredible on the CT side as well. He's actually a player who I think we'll be talking a lot more about in the future when we cover Nemiga.
Sure, he's the second highest rated player currently on them, assuming Lollipop, is still that top dog. But, you have the stats here on your screens, 1.19 rating for Lollipop, a key piece to the Nemiga team. And, we say it might catch us off guard because they are floating outside of the top 20. They are a last-minute stand-in for this event as well. Right? We have to remember that. They took the place of Sprout, who just bailed out a couple days prior to this coming live. So even for them, were they preparing to be competing versus a team of the caliber of G2? Absolutely not. They're going to have their hands full, and today should at least be a lesson to Nemiga as to what it's like and what it's going to take to break into the top tier of Counter-Strike if they're ever going to do it, no matter which players they have.
I personally think it's actually really fun to try to prepare for a Tier 1 team as opposed to a Tier 2. There's so much more variance, so much more randomness at that level, so it's going to be a nightmare more for G2 to get ready or to care enough about trying to beat Nemiga than the other way around. And this is some very quality experience that Nemiga can get.
It's really interesting as well because Navani from Gambit was saying they much prefer playing these higher tier teams because they're so much easier to prepare for because they're playing more classical Counter-Strike. Yeah. So that is going to be a real challenge for G2 today. But we actually caught up with Lollipop. He's been out of the game for about a month now. So it's time to check in to see how he's doing.
I haven't been playing CS for a whole month, almost, because I have a fracture. I had my finger broken while I was on this break, kinda. I was watching a lot of demos, a lot of replays, and I found out a lot of new for me, for our team, and I was watching a lot of G2 demos as well. So I think we will be trying to find something for us tomorrow.
He's coming back in for the crossfire. Lollipop has the spray down though, and he'll be able to get away, nearly nading himself out. He has the shot regardless. Lollipop, a massive 4K.
The tournament, the DreamHack Masters Winter, is very important for us. We are able to show ourselves, to show what we are capable of.
Lollipop there. Hopefully he's going to be able to pop off straight away on his return to the team. But really, I think a lot of it is going to be map dependent. So, gentlemen, what are you expecting? Maybe a little bit of Dust 2?
Maybe a little bit of Mirage, maybe a little bit of Dust 2. I think we just keep this one gloves off Counter-Strike. You know, I think that's maybe where this one's headed.
Getting rid of Vertigo, smart choice here from Nemiga, of course, just not a map they're going to play, and very, very strong map for G2. Where this falls for G2, I don't think it matters too much. It's really just about whether or not they want to use a match like this, which is a live setting, to bring in something new or to practice something. And it looks like they're just going to go with what works. Okay, we all know about Nico on Dust 2 with his amazing 38 kill game versus Astralis in 26 rounds, something that no one's ever done before. That happened a couple weeks ago. Nemiga's going to take it to Mirage, a nice simplistic map for them to play, but it ends on Nuke. My God.
This is going to be a really interesting decider, not your classic decider map. Nemiga, I have seen them play on Vertigo, and so I really thoroughly understand why they vetoed it.
Yeah.
Because they played it against the Luminar, and I'm still thinking about that match when I go to sleep at night, and that's probably why I've turned into an insomniac. So let's get your predictions for this one. I feel like this is probably quite simple for you, Launders.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 G2.
Same.
Yeah, me too as well. I do think it's going to be an incredibly poggy game, but you have such incredible individuals on G2 that it's not really going to be a contest. I could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. I was wrong about Emmy.
If there's a map pool for the first two maps, that it could be interesting, Dust 2, Mirage, and we know how cursed the Dust 2 pick is for G2. Sure. They pick it, they lose. Let's see if Nemiga can really prove to us that it is a curse.
And we get to enjoy the incredible social media content from G2, whatever happens. But what were Twitch chat saying? Okay. 16% said Nemiga.
That's pretty good for Nemiga.
Yeah.
Just the brand power alone makes it very difficult to win these votes. Even if G2 are a bad team, they do so well on social media.
I think you always have to take the 50% troll factor.
Yeah. Well, I'll be sticking around to troll you guys in the cast, I think. I might keep my headset on, just pop up a little bit. We are going to go to a short break, and when we come back, it is going to be Nemiga Gaming trying to upset G2.
So the games for day 2 are about to begin, and we have a very lopsided expectation as to what's about to happen. I mean, let's be real, Nemiga last-second stand-ins, and, well, do they even stand as tall as the giants beside them? G2, absolute kings when it comes to Counter-Strike. Tons of experience, tons of talent. Why would Nemiga have a chance? Except for the fact that they're playing with little to lose, and they're playing on both Mirage and Dust 2.
And they definitely prepare for this game more than G2 did. That's the one thing that always makes games like this a bit more interesting, is that for Nemiga, this is the biggest game they've ever played, and it's a pretty big stage, and it means they stay in this bracket or whatever. But for G2, you've got to really, I mean, how much are you actually going to prepare for this game? Like, are you really going to take it that seriously? That's a big question.
Are these maps going to be an issue, gentlemen? Because we know that Nemiga are going to be playing quite a puggy style. These maps are literally Dust 2 and Dust 3. So this is really going to benefit the way that Nemiga likes to play the game. And currently G2, they're playing very default style T-sides. They're very simple CS.
Yeah.
They could get overwhelmed.
To reference something that Art said about when they were coming up, he said that to the roster, they took the philosophy that if they were going to beat stronger level teams, they couldn't play like them. If they played default style Counter-Strike, they would just slowly crumble and lose. You can't play the same game Astralis plays when they play it better and expect to take a victory. So they started pushing a lot, being a lot more aggressive, finding opening plays that was very atypical to the meta. And so I think that's very true when we talk about Nemiga. If they want to be the very best default team in the world, well, then they're going to have to play better than they've ever played before.
And it's time for them to try, emphasis on try, to do exactly that. They're going to take to the T side on the start of Mirage. And well, G2, 3 players inside of the A site at the start of this one, wasting 0 time. Nemiga already through connector, in fact, just hunting this first contact. And Kenny S takes the kill. MDS trades. This combines nicely with what is cat control and the possibility of the B split. Amanek is alone over here. He has a smoke to delay. He has a kit if it needs to get picked back up, but he doesn't have any kind of a kill to start this because of the deep market position. He didn't challenge cat. He didn't smoke off market. He just waited. And therefore, Nemiga take themselves into what is, of course, a hold on the B site. MDS has been sat here since he took over the catwalk. He is serving as a very real issue in terms of delaying the rotates, but the rotators chew through him. And now because of that, it pushes pressure onto Speedak and Box. One by one, the remaining players of Nemiga in this post plant fell in individual fights. G2, they let them have the B site. They dealt with that anchor who was meant to hold them in middle, and G2 Esports very comfortable through and through for this pistol.
Well, that was quite a nice retake. As you mentioned, it was that buildup of pressure that they just kept applying at every single choke point until the point that Nemiga were forced to fight in a position where they took some map control but almost regretted it. So Nemiga will lose that round, buy up into AKs. They've got a significant amount of firepower in this round with a little bit of utility as well. So this is going to be a lot about Lollipop and the 2 other rifles beside him.
I like the fact that they just walk out dry here. G2 maybe not expecting something so simple, something so disrespectful. And sure enough, Lollipop, excellent about a damage. I mean, 2 kills clean. There is a ton of damage back the other way because of a little bit of utility. Lollipop and MDS soften pieces, but look at this. Look at this. 2 players sneak out into the B site. G2 reacting so quickly to that disrespectful walkout that they give over the B site again, similarly to the pistol, except this force from Nemiga is about to work out.
We have a game. What a play. That was something else. I mean, if Lollipop had a fractured hand for a month and he could do that and wasn't death matching, was it just the demos? What was it? We know the power of a single AK on a round like this, but for him to get 2 kills alone, and he had all the utility as well to walk out, take the kills, and for them to have a fallback strategy on top of that is pretty impressive stuff. So very nice round from Lollipop.
You know that point in the movie where the really, really big guy, which is G2, gets punched in the face by the main character, and he just kind of stands there stunned for a second, and you're not sure if he's either about to get knocked out or if he's about to just pick them up and snap them in half because now he's really pissed. I feel like that's this round right now. So G2, they just sat there.
Yeah.
They did not see that walkout coming.
Frankie, what's that? So there's the mountain in Game of Thrones, and then who's the guy? He popped out that guy's eyeballs.
Oh, the prince.
The prince of.
The prince.
I keep thinking Aubergine for some reason. What's that place that he's from?
Well, he was from that island. They really ruined it when they put it on camera. With the Sand Sisters people who they just wrote out.
Yeah.
Because they didn't work.
Yeah. Well, So Nemiga, you're saying they're the prince.
All right.
And G2 are the mountain.
Okay.
They're coming. Half Thor's coming for them.
They better hold on.
Yeah.
Who's Cersei?
Me?
Of course.
Which is me.
Did I need to ask?
Why'd you have that prepared? That's strange.
Box with a couple of flashes out top mid. We got Nico playing around the connector. This is obviously where he was when he was on phase. We were talking about it yesterday. KRB retaking this position from him. Nico gets what Nico wants. We'll see if he can deliver, because yet again, I'm looking at this A site and thinking to myself, Nemiga are just going to disrespect it. Similar situation. Kenny S just playing around with utility, but at least now the grenades indicate this heavy presence. Kenny S to the top of the box, dies empty-handed. It's Lollipop taking players off A site yet again. And that FAMAS, well, it's extra special because it's the one of 3 weapons that G2 are working with. But Nico maybe doesn't need a rifle. He's got the deagle and he's got a second headshot. There's some damage back the way of Nemiga, and there should be some confidence on the remaining 2 players of G2. They're going to watch MDS walk away from the bomb site and take this into the even moment. There's a kit in play, but Lollipop is now down because we've got G2 focused forward on these positions. J-Yo from the side is able to deny at least the first one, but the 5-7 from Aminex enough. Joe, he tried his damnedest, but it's G2 with the second round.
Kind of tossed that one away. They had a position where they could have just gone to pure post plans. They died to the boost behind the smoke, which was a, not a risky play, but the last ditch effort here from G2 to bring back this 2v3, and then they win with FAMASes. There were so many shots missed in the beginning of this round. It felt like G2 were looking very uncomfortable, but now there's pressure on the eyeballs. Okay, the thumbs are coming in.
Full AK's up. That bomb plant from Nemiga helps them look to rebound.
This isn't going to be one of the games where Kenny S just goes 2-16 for no reason, right?
Don't talk about it and it won't happen. But Lollipop, he's trying to make it. Trying to force that on him. Nice headshot coming in from the AK. Box, he's going to be leading the charge for what could be 3 players of Nemiga coming into this A site through connector. Nico backing up, unsuspecting on the side of that smoke. This A site is completely clear. 3 frags coming through for Nemiga, and this makes things interesting. We're going to stay tied early on here. First 5 rounds of Counter-Strike out of a team who has little to lose, and I'm liking what I see.
Obviously, there's some mistakes from Nemiga, but these A walkouts are so dangerous, and they can consistently try to be prepared for someone to come out A ramp, and it depends how many times they think it's going to happen. And eventually, they might start catching Nemiga off guard. But if Nemiga get a strong enough start, they can start to move into other things and just keep that as a pocket play for later. So far, I think they are doing a good job of conditioning G2 into worrying about that. And it'll just come down to what the immediate response will be next round. Surely the first protocol will be like, just don't let Lollipop walk up through that smoke again.
I like the ideas. Lollipop walking up from ramp. Box coming in through the side of the connector smoke.
They avoid getting naded, right? I mean, it's such a nice strat to use if it works, where if you come up the A ramp, you walk out. There's no telegraphing, right? He takes some damage and a lucky miss from Kenny S. It was through the top of the bricks on Tetris, but he revenge frags for himself. Oh my god, they'll actually come up with another quick one. And I like the game plan right now. They're keeping it very simple, utilizing their great aim, and especially Lollipop, putting him up in front. Lollipop 21K sounds like my MySpace name from like 1998. What is going on here?
Oof, Speedak off shot connects one. I didn't have MySpace. Did you, Frankie?
Of course. My MySpace was myspace.com/Frankie smells good.
Well, Hunter, he looks good. That 2K off at the side of the cat boxes really gives them something to work with. But that something, I think, quickly dissolves unless Nexa can find them with their guard down. He's walked back through ramp. They're going to throw the molly just in case. So obviously they're aware of the possibility, but Box, he plants inside of the smoke. Nexa, he's just going to wait for him to creep away from where he's planted. We've got 2 Ts from Nemiga over on the stair side, setting up a crossfire. There's also Aminex's fight that could have gotten them back into it. Now, Box is able to eject with the possibility to wrap all the way through CT spawn. And remember, they already Molotov Nexus position, so they're going to play as if he's here. They've got that on their minds, and because of it, I think he realizes he's been denied. There's no way for him to get into this. We've got Nemiga on a lead.
Everything they're doing is without the support utility in mind. They come up the A ramp, there's no flash behind. They're just trying not to get telegraphed. This round they run out mid, Lollipop takes that duel at top of middle. It's always a gamble on the meta to whether or not you want to try to do these dry walkouts, but right now, the remedy to the situation is clearly in AWP. G2, if they hold some of these default spots, they will get a kill. It's just that Nemiga have already gotten away with this. So now they have to read into it a little bit more. Are Nemiga going to change? I think it wouldn't make sense for Nemiga to keep doing the same thing, because that would be assuming G2 would be stupid, but at the same time, that can be a gamble in and of itself.
Coach Lau, can I ask a question?
Go for it.
I'm just wondering why G2 aren't just, okay, this is real new corner, but they're just leaving ramp dry. They're not throwing anything in the way of Nemiga, not stopping the pushes. And I don't know if that's just because Nemiga haven't been going out fast or a reason why.
No, yeah, I mean, it's a very fair question, especially after the first time. You should be trying to condition your opponent to being worried about that kind of thing, and yet Nemiga were able to get away with it 2 or 3 times. So I think it's just a mistake by G2 to not put some more emphasis there, because you can also have an A-ramp setup. Let's say you think they're going to change. You could also have an A-ramp setup that sets you up for different positions later in the game. Like you could do your double close A-ramp setup early on to make sure they don't push. Plus, that can work as a push that you use in case they take mid. And so there are better catch-all solutions that G2 could have implemented that would cover both that problem and maybe future ones.
I think we see a nice little bit of A-ramp play again this round, right? We get that walk-up from Nemiga. Op is in CT's looking away from it. First player dies on the side of Palace, and then they just cut right through it. As expected with a round like this, working with so little. But I think you're onto something here, Frankie. A-ramp's going to be a point of contention throughout this first half. Or do we get a completely fresh-faced Nemiga and a shift in direction? Time will tell.
Yeah.
No matter where they go this time, they're going to be met with resistance. CT's sitting on money, coming in with the buy. This is, of course, Lollipop walking out through Palace, popping 2 players with the headshots. Yeah, he's looking very good in terms of individual form.
He's having a fantastic game. And I think, yeah, I think if you're Nemiga and your playbook goes a bit deeper. Oh, hold on. Back to 49% after round 2. Winning the first pistol versus losing it on Mirage raises your chances from 35% to 55% of winning the map in regulation. That's a pretty big bump, even with 2020 data, right? This is post old economy or new economy data. So that's still pretty relevant. I'm surprised it's actually that much at the top level. But if I'm Nemiga and I have more to the game, I would leave A-ramp this threat, just so, because you know G2 have to allocate resources to it, like these early grenades, and then start to think about something else, and then come back to it later when G2 now have a new problem. They are taking the fast mid control here with Box. Nico gets spotted. And we'll find out if you want to go for that duel. Nico throws his smoke at the bottom connector specifically to counter the smoke that comes to the top. They could walk through it, but they don't know that it's safe.
Immediately starting to move back over towards the A site. We're going to have Lollipop on the ramp entry. This pushes Speedax Sniper into the Palace, so he's hunting Nico at the moment. If Nico challenges around this, that could be the opening shot, but instead, it's Kenny S. Off at the ticket booth, he's able to get himself the man advantage. Now, of course, we've got Nexa showing his position by smoking out the Molotov. Kenny takes to the top of the box through the smoke with his second kill of the round. Nico, a far more passive angle that does open up the chance for Speedax to walk out. But remember, he took damage, so any risk he takes is amplified by that early punch in the face. 5v3, 40 seconds. And that bomb's already over towards Sandwich. MDS goes down as Nexa finally decides to come out from his troll hole looking for a fight. And, well, Joe falling at Nico's hands as he finally decides to extend into a far riskier position. He wants that last kill. He needs some stats, and G2 needs some rounds to tie this up. So to win this one off of the back of Kenny S's opping, very solid A-hold.
Yeah, they have Lollipop come up the A ramp, but here's a situation where Nemiga try an aggressive opening tactic. They run out mid again, light on smokes, and oh my god, are they actually going to go right back to it? The Incendiary down on the A ramp will slow them down a tiny bit, but you can see they still have eyes pressed on the ramp with a fast connector split in mind.
Ooh, he tried to get away. Hunter tagged up Joe, and Kenny S snipes him through smoke before he really has any sort of a chance. Box, unfortunately for Nemiga, did again try to use that A walkout. Got pretty far, but wasn't as successful. Amanek with a sliver of an angle favoring the player over here.
I'm sure. Oh, he's going to walk right into it.
Yeah, in the end, it's the same result. And that can be said between rounds here. 2 in a row for G2. We are all tied up at 4.
Yeah, so now the gimmicks aren't working quite as well, and this is where things need to evolve a bit for Nemiga. They got shut down on 2 incendiaries just right at the beginning of the round at both A ramp and mid now, which it appears is their entire game plan is to try to abuse these 2 positions. But now G2 are getting a bit more comfortable, and now the fear is that they get stronger and stronger at these holds, so this is where Nemiga really have to show something new.
Want to draw your attention really quickly to Speedak as well. We had talked about him in the pre-show, and I mentioned he's been up and down, and in the last few matches he's really been down, and the same thing seems to be happening here. I mean, Lollipop obviously back in the roster, he's getting all the openings he needs. I need my HLTV stats to refresh, but every opening duel he's taken he has won. So really there's not as much for Speedak to do.
Not with Lollipop back in, and I think that's kind of what they're relying on, right? If I'm Speedak and Lollipop comes back into the server and I've been the player who's trying to step up in his shoes, and then all of a sudden, straight out the gate, he's delivering what he's known to, it's like, oh, the job's got a little easier.
Based on what we've seen, I can only assume that Lollipop fractured his hang from playing too much CS. Because he is so nuts that it feels like he was just death matching too long, and that's how he got that fracture.
We might have to ask him in the post-match.
We could. Yeah, we could. Hopefully it's healing well. I mean, like, I always think about that, right? I'm so afraid to, like, anytime I've got a little frog in my throat.
Do we know what the details are about the fracture? If it's a hairline fracture, if it's like a real...
It can't...
Something almost fell off or what?
Severed finger.
Yeah.
I feel like his mouse hand is absolutely fine from the way that Lollipop's been
assumed it
playing.
was his mouse hand.
Just to update you guys on the stream, Speedak has timed out, so maybe that's an adequate excuse. Maybe that's what's going on.
There we go.
With Nemiga, they are... And you're seeing it right now. They are incredibly mechanically gifted players. Like the performance that Lollipop is given, despite the fact he's been, out of the professional server for a month, is insane. However, when we get to those CT sides, that's where we're really going to see if they've got what it takes.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling they're going to be a little bit impatient.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's good enough to walk out into bomb sites, individually pop people right now. Is he going to be good enough mechanically, and also his teammates, to stop what is an entire G2 offense?
And he needs to be set up differently. Like, he's not, G2, they're like, oh, cool, you tried that a few times. Cool.
Cool.
Now I'll just plug in all of these different adjustments that we already know from years of playing at the top level, right? So that's the real issue. And getting off by a dry peek on Kenny S, it's like Brave. Lollipop's like, yeah, don't worry, I'm going to first bullet him in CT spawn. But eventually Kenny S is going to hit that shot. That's ultimately the biggest trouble. But teams like Nemiga are so scary, and just a lot of that wave of players that came from the time that Nemiga came in are really scary because they built rosters on the idea of like no bottom fraggers, and they all came from FPL, and they're all just putting together such strong rosters individually that the mechanics of the game, they might be on par with some of the tier 1 players. Of course, the difference is how much team level there is, right? Like how much experience is there knowing about your specific opponents? How many adjustments can you have? How good is your IGL? That's the difference between a team like Nemiga and a team like G2. It's not so much the individual efforts. They can almost keep up on that front. and how scared they got. That's a big thing too,
Yeah, sure, right? Yeah, I mean, Kenny S, you think about it. We first had Lollipop walking up A ramp, and everybody was just literally hiding behind their positions. Now they're walking into the A ramp, and Kenny S is jumping up on top of Ticket Booth, firing shots through smokes, reapplying that pressure. You know, Lollipop had no pressure against him when he got that first nice couple of kills walking into the A site. It was his game to play, and I think, again, element of surprise. He wasn't even being flashed around the corners. He just walked in, and it was literally clearing out shots, almost like shooting at bots. Now, G2, a little riled up, realizing that they can't let Nemiga be comfortable in these kinds of quiet moments. We're seeing the utility usage. We're seeing the aggressive peaks, and we're starting to watch G2 rack back rounds. It's no coincidence.
It feels like teams are leaning B a lot more, and I'm surprised that Nemiga haven't tried any kind of full B execs or any full execs at all, really.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a short break because we definitely want to get Speedak back on the line. We want this fair fight to continue, so stick with us. We're hoping to be back in about 3 minutes.
My mind is going in circles, can't stop thinking of you when the feeling isn't going. I'm looking for distraction, nothing's getting me through. When you're really under my skin. I don't know where to begin. Could go back to yesterday. Underneath the sheets again. Replaying that night with you. Underneath the sheets again. Could go back to yesterday. Underneath the sheets again. Replaying that night with you. Underneath the sheets again. Resentment flowing down the line. I can't stand when you are not near. We can sort it out when you're here. Face to face. Face to face. Face to face.
decent start for Nemiga, but now, suddenly, a twist of fate. That's right, we've got Keeper in the server. Unfortunately, we've got a coach standing in for Nemiga for the foreseeable future. At least his stats get reset, so he's 0-0-0. But obviously, this just very much bodes well for G2.
This is so unfortunate for Nemiga. Or is it? We'll today find out what kind of talent Keeper brings to the server. And to do it in such a difficult match. Oh, this will be a real test. Maybe Keeper is the next Emmy.
There is a chance. I'm expecting a tweet about him after this map so that you can retweet it 7 months later.
I should tweet now, actually.
Whoa, he killed every... Reset.
Yeah, maybe I'll pre-tweet. Yeah, I'll do that. Keeper is the next Emmy. This will be... It's unfortunate. Really unfortunate. I mean, part of the life, of course, of coaching is that, like, you're not constantly thinking about your individual level. Like, he might be a good player. I don't know who he is. But he might be a good player, but if your primary job is to coach, you're spending a lot of time watching demos. It means you might be prepared for what's coming, but you might not feel comfortable enough to deal with it.
I don't know about that. Your primary job is to coach, and you cast a lot.
I cast on the side, that's true. Casting is my favorite hobby. One day I'm going to be the coach of Nemiga. Coming for you, Keeper.
I wonder if they're just going to use him as a bank account.
That's what I would offer if I was Keeper.
Because he came into this round and didn't buy.
True. Yeah, man. If he went half armor Glock, though, that'd be hilarious.
If he doesn't know to buy, maybe he's really not a good player.
Maybe he's really a coach, yeah. Yeah. Imagine, he's never even played CS.
You know, on the plus side, Nemiga, I think, have a dedicated bomb carrier.
Yeah, that is true. And I think the bank strat is actually very underrated. I feel like people don't take enough risks with the economy when it comes to buying on T-side, where four 8Ks is enough to win you a round. Most of the time when it comes down to your last gun, you don't win anyway. So having a player who doesn't invest too much that can drop in the future is big. But MDS, he'll make his way into window. How the hell did he find that timing? Neat goes down, and look, he's already making a read on the underblast, underbalance player, excuse me. Nexa will be out of the round. No one to save him. And will Keeper go 1-0 in rounds played in professional CS versus G2?
NES is looking to stop him, but he also gets Molotov. So really nice utility usage from Nemiga, calling out every single one of the positions so far from G2. But a blinded headshot because that's what Hunter does. Keeper, he's planted a bomb. And his teammates are keeping him alive for the time being. We've got, of course, just Amanek left over now. He's coming over from this B site with a coach. Nemiga have won a round, and they keep that 1-round lead. And how's it unfold? The window boost starts it all off.
Yeah, just that one big play, and that can happen for sure. I mean, again, you don't need 5 rifles to win a round on T-side or even look like... I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell, really. Can I send you on a mission to find out anything more about Keeper and see if there's any details about whether or not he's played before? Because I just, joking here, I don't know much about him, but I would like to. And I would like to give him the respect of saying, okay, he's actually a person who was competitive at one point, or like maybe it should be talked about more seriously here. Keeper has played 1 game in his life in 2017. He got more assists, 5, than kills. Wow. Okay. 1 game in his life.
Got more assists than kills.
He's a keeper. I like that one. Well done.
Let's see what I can find.
Is this him?
Hey, buddy.
This is the plant that Frankie wanted in the backdrop.
I feel like this kind of looks like what would happen if my dad found my computer. he just said, "Hello, kids. What are we doing?"
That's so good. Okay. Well, we'll have tempered expectations.
We shall. But I hope.
What do you hope for?
That he has fun. I would not want to deal with like the anxiety of standing in.
He's opping right now.
Yo, my man.
Okay, yeah, we went from 0 to 100 off of a round saved with $800 and a Glock to planting the bomb into opping.
He's like, he plants the bomb.
His confidence is, he's actually brimming with confidence at the moment.
Somebody drop me an op.
I can't believe he's opping right now. I mean, he is the opera for the team now that Speedak is gone.
I
Oh
got
my
this,
god.
guys.
He knows all of his nades perfect. Imagine he punished that through the smoke. Keeper opping. And again, this is off. Oh my god, Lollipop will get a kill. The G2 are getting destroyed.
Dude.
In back-to-back rounds. Since having Keeper come onto the roster, Nemiga have won 100% of the rounds. That's an Elliott stat if I've ever heard one.
He's just going to stay here, sitting and waiting for somebody to come down these B apartments.
You see how he's controlling all that space? He had them thinking about B. He's kept 2 players in this site. Threatening them with his op presence. I mean, that's just another level of task, though, right? I mean, like, first of all, it's the most expensive gun the T's are going to buy in this game. Second of all, you'd think, like, you've got to have played more than one game on record to be confident in opping versus G2.
It's just Kenny S.
Yeah, right? He isn't a slump. Maybe there's a chance. But I'm all for it. I would rather see this than to watch him Glock save and just drop guns. So let's see what goes on. So far, so good here for Keeper. Look, he's focused. I love the eyebrow movements. I mean, they haven't watched Keeper's demos. Demo.
Right, singular. From 3 years ago. All right, Keeper's going to get tested. G2 coming at him. Oh, he wins the
he's on the board!
Yeah! Amanek goes down. Keeper looking for the multi-kill.
Oh, yes.
Smoke grenade out. He's going to use that same sequence of utility.
Right.
But does he get too confident now that he's got his first kill?
He's establishing space. He's living rent-free in their heads. Was that... Did he outduel Ominek opping?
I think...
Ominek had the op right at the beginning.
Must have.
Oh my god. Okay, Hunter's next up to bat. The next victim here for Mr. Keeper.
Just guarding the ump.
Just imagine.
We'll see his. We'll see how
Imagine
good his
the
flick.
flick.
Okay.
Okay, hold your breath. Chilling, give yourself another chance.
I like it. Applying the pressure. Poising them well for a little B split. They are actually going to have to clear out Nexa. Oh, Nexa gets aggressive. Keeper missing shots. He's going to offer over the op, and that redirects Nemiga. Things don't end up going too well. Can Lollipop save the day? Rushes into A. Only Kenny S on the pistol, and despite his USPS dink, it is still the bomb planted. Hunter, of course, one of the 2 offers left up for G2, but Joe stays behind the boxes, pinned into position, even though he was spotted. He let Hunter creep into his crosshair. And Nemiga gonna save the day, but I like the fact that Amanek, having been boxed into that B site, got hyper-aggressive, sprints in to take them down. There is still time to win this, but he'd have to get on the bomb now. And he's not going to. So this one goes the way of Nemiga. It is costly. It is not as flawless as Keeper's previous round, but it is still a victory on their T side. I'm talking 7 rounds to 4.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a chance that Nexa could have hit him with that molly. That's how low his HP was. And any of that spread would have killed him, and the defuse would have come in. But a good recovery here. After a great start, yeah, he does. He just does out-op Ominek straight up. But then misses a couple of shots. He'll fall back. Frankie, if you missed it, Keeper has come in, and he's opping.
So I went and had a little bit of lunch.
Okay.
So apologies for being a bit tardy to the stream. But oh my god, Keeper got the kill, and I was celebrating. And not only did Keeper get the AWP, he also got given the magic stick. He got his first AWP kill with Kenny S's AWP. I mean, that's pretty cool to play, your second professional match of all time, and then actually get to play with Kenny's magic AWP.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish that sentence. I'm sorry, gentlemen. Don't want to be on Reddit anymore.
Oh, well, I'm sure Keeper finished after that kill, so that was pretty extraordinary.
I was very sad when he died. I was kind of on my knees yelling, G2, leave him alone.
I don't want to see him bullied. I want to see him have a good time. And I think that that opening op duel versus... I love how he's just become the star of the show,
I love it, yeah. Oh, he's called... So this is cool, though. It is just, he is the coach, so of course he's going to have some really, really important input and can get a read. And honestly, you get a better feel for the game when you're in the server. Being a coach, sitting outside, watching perspectives, but not having any skin in the game as an individual, it can take you out of the moment. It's where you want, like, even when you're dead in the game, it's harder to call. It's much easier for someone who's alive and present in each round to make calls. So I wonder if this will have an effect on how he views the game, having a perspective that he's locked into. And maybe it might hamper it a little bit as well, just because he will be limited. He can't switch around in perspectives.
I am also enjoying the lemon tree and the jumper. I do sometimes question why esports jerseys look like sports jerseys.
Yeah.
Oh, we've just got some news just in, and I'm actually really sad to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen,
No.
but Speedak
No,
is
come
making
on,
a
man.
return.
They haven't lost a round. At least wait until he lost a round. They haven't lost a round since he's come in.
But if he stops now, he has a 100% round win rate in 2020.
Oh, he's got to run from this because he's got a kill with Kenny S's magic stick. He out-dueled Almanac officially in a professional match, and his second map ever, he went undefeated in rounds versus G2.
Stop while he's ahead.
So while he's had, listen, gentlemen, as someone who has a 100% land win rate, I can recommend
There you go.
just quit while you're ahead.
Everybody remembers that tuna clutch. Yes.
I should really stop talking about it because I don't want to lose one of my friends over it. But at the same time, it's all I've got going for me.
That was a pretty epic moment. I won't lie.
I cried.
I cheered for you.
I cried. I cried.
Yeah, I actually gift Stunner on the floor, like literally. So
Yeah, I don't
Happy
even know how
time.
far he would have rolled with wireless headphones
Yeah.
there. He was going off.
All the way out the arena.
Yeah.
that clip has got me through quarantine. If I'm ever sad, I just have to remember. Whenever people just come into my Twitch chat and they're just like, oh, why is Silver doing Counter-Strike? I just go, because I also shot someone in the head.
And you're gold Nova, not silver, right?
I am. I got to Golden over 3, boys.
Yeah, Frankie.
And then I logged on when I got to Poland, where I was last working,
I
and
think
then
in
I
the
decayed to 2.
I think you're at like near the median rank, right? Like at was it gold Nova 4 is the median, like the middle.
Really?
Middle
So I'm nearly
pack.
average.
I think you're nearly average now.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, boys! What will I do when I become average?
You're like 45% to average,
Ooh.
or like 90% to average, 45% to global.
I'm very happy being average. I've taken up AWPing. That's a lesson from Device.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
And
gaming experience in Europe has been pretty decent. I've been playing a good amount of Danger Zone, and there are far
Are
less.
you happy or do you play Danger Zone? Harry would ask.
Yeah, right.
You like bumping.
you know-
I see
no,
you
but-
as a bumper.
Harry's the worst type of Danger Zone player because he keeps it in the closet. He doesn't talk about it, but I've got the clips. I know that he is a fanatic of Danger Zone. But if Hugo ever found out, that duo is over.
He did find a clip with Harry having a lot of fun playing Danger Zone. Undefined.
All right, back into the game with Speedak. It was nice while it lasted, Keeper. Pleasure to have you, my friend.
All right, yeah. It's okay. We're back to serious. Like, and seriously, G2 have basically lost to like entry frags. They haven't needed the whole team here, and Joe just comes out with a confident wide swing into B halls. I feel like yes, Hunter was on that angle, but nobody was actually expecting someone to just run through the smoke. Again, no flash.
Yeah, Nemiga takes some crazy risks, and you'd think those risks would be punished by some of the individuals of G2, but it hasn't happened yet. So why change away from the game? Just keep doing what's got you to the 7-4.
They're going back to B. Okay, this is where Almanac has to really screw on those glasses. Right? He's going to pay attention here. Kenny S will get a kill. The flash comes over. Almanac probably knows what's on the way now, and Kenny S will move into position in the B side.
He's going to get himself behind the further columns. Almanac drawing attention downwards. That should prime Kenny S. And sure enough, he's got himself another kill in the mix. It's Speedak back with the op. 1 kill in this round already. And 30 seconds left, but he wide swings into Nexa, a position that just a second sooner had nobody in it. So when he thought he could go back for that space, oh, was he wrong. G2 finding their 5th round of the board, keeping those 2 ops for Almanac and Kenny S, and looking to take back this lead. They could still finish with 8 if they solidify now.
Just going to put this out there. They haven't been doing too well with Speedak in the server. Things have really taken a tumble since their star coach left. Kenny S in the underpants.
In the where?
In the underpants.
Looking good.
With the boxing.
Finds MDS. He's going to get hit, however, from Box, who tries to continue that spray into connector. Sure enough, tags up Nico, and then Speedak hits his op shot. Let's see if this man advantage is enough for G2 to walk away with. Lollipop expending 70 HP to get that trade frag back in the hands of Nemiga. But Speedak, well, he just walks right into Hunter. Hunter heard him coming. Easy pickup.
Did Speedak hear him? And then
He should have.
Yeah, and then Hunter just ran so far. I guess Speedak had no idea
Should have.
that he made that much progress. Lollipop, we know what he can do. He's been a star in the early round, okay? But what we haven't seen so much from him in the clutch. He's been getting these 2K entries and winning the rounds. But now it's where he's going to have to show us how cerebral he is. Of course, the op is the first challenge, but the op moves off its post. Smoke will go down in front. It's a layer of defense here. So Lollipop just recognizing where his opponent should realize he might try this. But how is he going to play off this smoke? Almanac is just on the other side of the map because I guess he's lacking some mobility, having an op, probably a little bit uncomfortable making a big rotation. Things have gotten a little bit weird here. So 20 seconds, Lollipop will have to pick a site, straight up and down. And as more time ticks off the clock, B is pretty much the only option. But I guess he's just going to go safe instead. Never mind.
Yeah, he's just on super high alert, thinking that they wouldn't have given this over. He burned all his time because G2 had him playing scared. They didn't need to face him. They let him lose on his own. So he's good at walking up into bomb sites, but a little too pressured in the clutch. The clock will make the difference. G2 now within 1.
No magic stick for you. Keeper might not be playing, but he's still contributing, and it was with his AWP that Speedak got his first frag back. Another thing I just remembered from DreamHack Open November, boys. Nemiga had the second lowest multi-kill rating of the entire tournament. Bottom was Illumina, which means both teams had a worse multi-kill rating than Floscola, which consisted of 3 schoolboys who literally had to skip school to take part in the tournament.
Well, at least today we've seen some multi-kills. Lollipop, he's already delivered them, and he could in this round as well, because he has that solo op, the raid boss of Nemiga. Nico, I like this. Wastes no time pushing up into top mid, lines them up, takes down 2 players immediately, 3 kills for him. It's all the pistol players around Lollipop who have been shaved off this situation. 22 HP for Hunter and Kenny S combined, a minute on the clock. And, well, Lollipop, he possesses the bomb already. This isn't like the last round where he couldn't go for it.
It's true. How aware he might be of the damage is a question mark. I think they know they ripped up Kenny S in the spawn. Lollipop himself came through with that spam. And, might be slight unaware here of the player tucked into connector. That's Hunter. Hunter will get some damage off, putting Lollipop back to where we saw him around this same time in this same position last round.
But, I mean, you take that trade any day. Hunter, he had such little HP left, and he really rocked Lollipop to 30. Let's see it. Smoke to the top of the connector, flash over top of it. Nobody's giving him the contact he wants. He needs a crisp headshot 3 times in a row, plus the bomb plant, which really adds pressure to the situation. He is honing in on Nexa, but he will find nothing other than that first one. G2 Esports tying at 7, winning every round since Keeper left.
Yeah, we have to actually bring that up. I mean, that may be a relevant point. Who knows? Maybe Keeper, I'm sure he learned a couple of things just about the feeling of the game and stuff like that from playing against G2 just for that short period of time. I wonder what the input looks like now. And if it's input, that's going to make a big difference. It doesn't need, Nemiga seem like a team that don't really need a coach in some of the rounds with the way they're playing, with these ramp walkouts. Or maybe that is the genius of it, the simplicity of the style of play. They try it again. Joe's running up the A ramp, late execute behind it. Next up, flash and CT spawn.
Ooh, great position from Joe, right between 2 smokes. Almost gets called out, but obviously the Molotov is extinguished. The frag grenade lands on Joe. I have a hunch G2 very much aware of his position. Nico, if he throws a frag in, that could be enough to kill Joe. But he tucks back out of the doorway, avoids the incendiary and the frag, so they have to use the old-fashioned way. Shoot him in the head. They've got that man advantage in their hands. It's the final round of the half. Bomb beyond the halfway point. Expect an explosive close as this retake attempt begins to come in. Box is still a question mark. He fires off the Galil, has the bomb planted for him, but the body block from Kenny S and the op shot to give G2 an 8th round. They're starting to bring this back. Can they do it in the second half? We'll find out in a moment.
Seen the days in the dark too long, all the gray between the right and wrong. Takes a warrior to sing this song. When the glory and the pain is gone, it's the failures that make you strong. Can you see the path you're walking on? We're moving up in the world. We're moving up in the world. We're moving up in the world. We're moving up. This is a warrior's world. 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 Seen the days in the dark too long, all the gray between the right and wrong. Takes a warrior to sing this song. When the glory and the pain is gone, it's the failures that make you strong. And can you see the path you're walking on? We're moving up in the world. We're moving up in the world. We're moving up in the world. We're moving up. This is a warrior's world. This is a warrior's world. This is a warrior's world. This is a warrior's world.
G2 doubled their round count in the final 4 rounds of that first half. We had a little topsy-turvy weird situation from Nemiga on that T side, and it didn't stop them from getting 7 rounds on the board. So that in and of itself deserves a little love. But I don't think G2 are going to respect them on this T side.
I think Nemiga will be pretty happy with what happened, and G2 will probably be a bit tilted about the fact that Lollipop and Joe were able to get away with the plays that they did. And now that they're on T side, they'll get to control the flow of the game. Cracking middle open like a walnut, and just as a result, getting all of these kills. Kills off Cat, kills in mid. They have taken both sites. There are now 2 B rotators who will need to come in. 2 on 4 for this retake. But G2 are not done peeking.
And I don't think they're going to stop peaking. That's my anticipation of this T side. You just said it, right? They get to set the flow, the ebb. And I don't think it's going to be a trickle down the stream. I think it is going to be Grand Rapids smashing into what's supposed to be, and hopefully, a boulder in terms of defense.
They did not pay $6 trillion for Nico just to play defaults versus Tier 2 competition, okay? They're going to be peaking a lot this half.
I always look forward to it. Double Mac 10, Amanek, and Nexa. Galul on Hunter. What's the name of this skin, Launders?
Oh, Jormungandr.
Yes. The Emerald Jormungandr. Very cool. Nemiga is so good with the Mac 10 that even his major autographs, his stickers, they say Nemiga 10.
Oh, that's so sweet. More Mac 10 kills than AK kills, I think, at one point in his career, if that's not still true.
Well, these Mac 10s, one of which sitting at the bottom of connector. Speedax going to put down another smoke. We get Amanek removing himself from the underpass to go get that bomb. Where's the scout on box? It's sitting over on ticket booth. So very much keeping that long range of engagement through connector if he had a bit of vision. But the smoke grenade at the top of it really opens up the uncertainty. Where are G2 going? And off of that mid kill, well, their options are open. With Kenny S being shut down on A ramp, I'm wondering if they continue to press this A site. This is where the weapons are. That is a hefty nade. And then Box lands the scout shot. Was it a nade or did he collateral all three? Because I didn't see much utility from the CTs, but I assumed if he hit 3 people with damage, it had to be a frag grenade. I really hope we get the replay on that because that would be a sick scout shot, and it may be enough for him to have further impact on this round. But Joe, he's trying to keep that scout show going. 6 seconds. All MDS has to do is wide swing and take both these players down. He doesn't get the kill in the pre-plant, but he could still clutch it. 14 and 29 HP accordingly for the G2 players. A little bit of wallbang damage makes it look likely, but Nico ends it all.
Maybe a bit unwise to let him go in that 2-on-1 where he had to plant in that situation. Almost came through with it. I actually don't know what happened either. I saw the 3 health bars go down simultaneously, but again, it could have been an AoE nade or just one piercing scout shot. And I guess it'll remain a mystery. We've got pistols here for Nemiga as they try again at winning another eco, but this time they won't have a scout to help, which was such an important piece of the puzzle. However, there's a puzzle master. It's Box. He'll shoot one shot downrange to the top of Cat and take out Nexa, who was just there throwing some passive grenades, trying to mind his own business.
The recovery protocol starting to come in from G2. They still want mid. They will not be deterred. Despite Box's best efforts, he gets blown away from the corner of the windowsill. This is going to activate Lollipop, and while he does hit the headshot, it's with the measly CZ. Speedax position, a bit of a one and done, unless he can really catch them off guard here. His closest ally is MDS, who has Amanek jump by him, and Speedax already starts to shoot this USP. Hate to break it to him, his time was very limited, and sure enough, he dies right then thereafter. This is an 11th round for G2, extending their lead to 4 and trying to keep as many guns up as possible. Joe dies in the end.
I think G2 want to make sure they give enough respect to Nemiga, that they win rounds dominantly, and then can maybe start to ramp the game plan up a little bit. It's also a very scary first kill. Beautiful shot by Box off of pure crosshair placement alone. The smokes are not walls. There will be no damage drop-off. If you got that lineup, you may as well be blind. You're looking for a timing anyways. So it was a good try from that point, but he didn't actually get the kill. Speedax trying to dodge flashes while he jumps Cat. Eats a late one, perfectly timed by G2.
Amanek going to remain aggressive, but he goes past Box and loses out as Box is going to deliver us a multi-kill. He's able to get himself back around the corner of connector. Lollipop into ramp, getting the better of Nico. The gun round coming out of Nemiga looks good.
Pre-am absolutely perfect there from Lollipop. Inside of the smoke, Nico, I'm sure, felt like he had a big advantage. 2-on-5 situation after Amanek gets caught off guard going into connector. So again, the game plan does go a little bit faster, but Nemiga, they're playing inside of the choke points. They're playing very close up, trying to get ahead of this, not letting G2 get too much map control, because I definitely think that is where they would be the strongest. Another
one comes in, kill after kill.
2 ops here. Went for Geo as well.
2 Ops was the name of the game for G2 CT side, and I'm happy to see them try and deliver it themselves. 5 members up at the end of that round is crucial for Nemiga, but this was the first multi-kill coming off of Box. Amanek just moving beyond and not checking all of the corners.
How did Kenny get 2 flash assists there? Was it 1 flash and was like so long after it could have exploded that it also popped on Amanek?
This is one of those facts that I feel like Elliot puts in to remind me that I'm old, because Keeper becomes the oldest person to get killed at DreamHack Masters Winter 2020, almost twice the age of BMAS/Magic, so that's 17, which, if you do the maths, how old?
34.
34, thank you very much. Okay, I'm younger than that.
Elliot always leaves us with mysteries, man. He loves those kinds of lines, like it's twice as much as this, but there's no numbers. Now I'm just left wondering, well, how old exactly is this guy?
There you go, it's an
How old?
enigma. He's an enigma.
How
like,
close is close? 33?
Oh, he's 30 close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Elliot.
Said
his favorite-
almost.
He always,
Yeah.
he always leaves a little bit to be desired.
He's a very
Elliot.
mysterious man.
Yeah.
His favorite player is AZ, and I feel like it's not because
Another
of AZ.
mystery.
I feel like it's because it sounds cool. But Elliot, you can correct us if we're wrong.
It's also a very one-sided dialogue. Elliot gives us stats, and then we make critiques and criticisms, commentaries.
And then he just gives us more stats.
Yeah.
It's true.
What is my purpose?
He's just our bird feeder. We're just birds. We're just eating whatever he gives us.
He's a puppet master.
Throw the ones we don't want on the ground.
Maybe we need to resist the facts.
Maybe. I don't feel comfortable with that, though.
Don't get out your comfort zone, mate.
Okay, yeah, maybe I should.
2020.
Looks like Nexa needs to as well. Stuck inside the window on the right side. But instead, he'll stick around. Okay, there's an aggression coming off of Cat. Joe, he's going to have a couple of T's coming his way. But are they going to turn the corner or just take ladder room control? Oh, off the boost. This might be a nice shot or an easy kill for a G2. I think we're finding out in a few seconds here. As they start to set up, bomb will get collected and they'll go over towards B. All they're going to hear is rotation back. For what it's worth.
Oh, Nexa, not going to waste any time. He likes this. He likes this timing he's just created. Off the incendiary, he tries to rock this forward. Hunter with a single kill. It's Joe on the column, missing a shot, but no problem. He has support from Box. It's all on Nico. And I don't say that lightly, but he's only got 10 seconds left to work with. And as he tries to get the better of Joe, it's Speedak with that deeper angle and the secondary op. Nemiga clawing back rounds on this CT side. They're only 2 away at this point.
You sure you want to go to Dust 2, G2? You sure about that? Mirage is looking a little bit difficult. Things are getting uncomfortable, and it's not exactly a very complicated map. G2 are here on the T side, trying to impose their game plan on Nemiga, but they're really making Nemiga look like a very competent team at the moment. Scary scenes. Speedak flashes to top mid, and it could be an easy mow down here for Boggs if he's careful. He'll show some composure, go for a first fight, but at the same time fall back and allow his teammates to get some as well.
Releases the smoke grenade. That bad boy flies over to the base of connector. Amanek's going to take damage as he tries to duel out from apartment, and he walks away from it before he goes down, not wanting to give over that double man advantage. But remember, G2, they don't even have a flash left. It's going to have to be the dry peaks from the trio of P250s. Although mid window is compromisable, they could boost into it. It's going to leave Box over on jungle. He's kind of keeping his attention turned towards connector every once in a while, so he's not giving them much space to slip through with. But every 4 or 5 seconds, you see him look away. If they can find that exact timing, we'll see. He's going to hear the footsteps beyond him. Shaves off Nico, and there comes Lollipop with a good multi-kill. Now Hunter's window push starts to trickle through. Box, having cleared other positions, tries to turn his head towards it. Hunter misses the jump. And I don't think that would have boded well for him, but Joe giving his head over on a silver platter. The P250 for Hunter can only get those 2 kills, but that's arguably more than it should have ever got.
Definitely. I don't think they collect the kill or collect the op on Cat as well, so they'll see if they buy into it again. I think they should because it's what's working. Joe will, rebuy the op, so it is a costly round for Nemiga. But bigger problems here for G2. Within one round of tying up, and it's a different half. So far, it looks like Nemiga, they've done a hell of a lot right. And we haven't seen any answers just yet. The default's been shut down, the slow mids have been shut down. Anti-eco's been cleaned up. DreamHack comes through with another opening kill. Lollipop having to push back a little bit, but man, he has been stellar close here on A ramp. Surely he gets sprayed down. Oh, wow.
Think, man, right? Oh, man, he finds the headshot into Kenny.
Reload. He tried to pull it.
He knows there's somebody else, and he just taps Nico back like it's nothing. Just a walk in the park. Lollipop in the high-pressure situation. Oh, and Nexa, well, he does still have a chance at the clutch. Frankie, you mentioned the lack of multi-kills from Nemiga in the most recent DreamHack event. Lollipop, now that he's back in this roster, is changing that stat line.
They look like a totally different team. I'm not going to lie. This is absolutely like a cut above what we saw from them just last week.
Sure. This one piece, right, really reinvigorates the roster. He is 22-12 off of that 3K. And now it's just leaving it to his other teammates to try and close the show. But you know what? Nexa, he's a fan of the multi-frags himself, and he already has both of those first kills without losing a single point of HP. This is one of those clips where we should just write it off.
But they have no reason to move out of A is the problem.
Yeah, well,
They've
what
got
if
the
they
B
just
push.
get rocked? What if Nexa hits this first shot? What ifs, but not what unfolds here.
Yeah. But I mean, at least they get some damage for what it's worth. But look at Lollipop. He could be responsible for everybody coming up the A ramp. He gets 3 kills in total. This is a beautiful shot on Nico. That's not a duel that Nico loses. Just to show how well Lollipop has been playing this game so far. And G2, they only have one more timeout. So they're getting really pushed to the edge here.
Elliot is just teasing us now. Kenny has recorded more kills in CSGO than anyone else ever. We don't have to do any maths, but he hasn't given us any numbers.
But by how much?
It's a consistent thing with Elliot.
He's underestimating us. I think that's what it is. He doesn't think we can count beyond 10, and he may have a point.
100, I don't know.
I feel like there's just a carrot in front of me all the time.
Who are the top 5? It's got to be
Simple?
Kenny's, Forrest, Get Right, Shocks.
Not simple?
And a top all-time since 2013, I don't think so.
Oh, he's still a babby.
Yeah.
Who's still
He's got the
active?
highest like KD differential, but I'm not sure
At
it's
least we
quite
can
all
say
time.
not Zywoo,
Yeah.
Zwoo, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, you're a part of our trio. It's Ziwu, Frankie. That's an obligation.
All right, I'll get it to 2. It's spelled the same.
Maniac said he just started saying Zywoo just to confuse people and make our lives even more complicated.
Well, it's not going to be complicated for Nemiga this time. We've got G2 back into the pistols, and because of that, it's going to be a 12th round, which means Nemiga are reestablishing the lead they once had.
I've got a theory.
Let's hear it.
They want to lose this first map for the content.
Yeah, to take it to nuke.
It's for the content.
Well, I would, I'm...
Jax is rubbing his hands,
I
that's
would,
for sure.
Right, sure, yeah. I believe in your conspiracies, Frankie, if maybe it wasn't Dust 2 up next. And we know that,
It's a cursed map pick for G2. Cursed.
Right.
it's a bad boyfriend they keep going back to.
It's a bad omen. Some voodoo magic going on in the G2 camp. Nemiga, they are rocking this one. So let's see if they can keep handling the heat as G2 buy back. And Speedak, well, he's not going to stop at all. He tries to get redirected. Aminex stopping midair. And Speedak even comes back in with that quick second.
He hit him before he touched the ground there.
It's a beauty.
That was really sick.
Bolt.
It's a good deathmatch aim practice. G2 laying the smokes down at top mid, and you gotta appreciate how unafraid Nemiga are of aggressing. Oh my god, this is an interesting spot because Box has snuck into a position they don't know he's at. Now they might clear from underpass. I think this is where they need to have a special CT adjustment come in because he's worried about underpass, but they are coming at the same time. Okay, so he'll actually move into a new spot, and I don't think Kenny S is gonna clear this. I mean, because he peeked right out, he didn't see anybody else there.
Nope.
Yeah, he's dead.
Now all of a sudden these two players on underpass realize their job's that much more difficult. Yo, Box with the 2 bullet bursts and MDS cranks the hurt with his third frag from Connector. You got Nico getting tagged up, can't win a duel. He sits on 13 HP. Nemiga about to have 13 rounds. They just need to close this. Hunter going to fight tooth and nail with his brother, his cousin, his best friend, to see whether or not they can take away the 2 versus 4 clutch. We call this the Kovac factor. These two in a 2v4, the super fusion, the synergy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
One
now
spotted.
Speedak's been called out.
Yeah.
Hunter, he's going to find another one over in middle. We've got a 2v2 from Nemiga. Now it's Nico's turn. Hunter primed him to clutch this, but Nico's working with very little HP, so it's going to be difficult. 20 seconds. He's going to try to clear underneath the balcony, but that CT just backed up, and because of it, he wins the clutch. He dodges the prying eyes from Palace, and Nemiga will be able to finish off the Kovacs, give that 13-11 lead a little bit of polish, and my man Box from the top of mid, slipping beyond Kenny S's Cyclops eye.
This is the sick play because Kenny S, he always repeaks right away. He's not scared, right? But he comes out for the repeak and that player had already crossed. An unlucky situation, but it's not just one kill that's really good. Nemiga find them all.
He's responded to our text message, guys. Kenny S, JW, Forest Rocks, and MBK make up the top 5. Kenny S had 36,205 kills before this game. 36,201 more than Keeper had. Guys, imagine though if it was Keeper, not Speedak, in that last round, getting the pick on Nico.
Right.
It's like Keeper's responsible for more round wins in this game than Kenny S. Based on what we've seen. That was actually a leapfrog in the first half, and Speedak came in. They lost a few, but in the second half, Speedak has been really outstanding. The movements around the site on that last round were great. Had a very clear idea of where G2 were going in that 2vx situation. Opting from the A ramp, then moving under Balk, locking down Hunter, and I think killing them both. Pistols again as Nemiga look for 14.
Yeah, this is a bit of no respect. This is G2 trying to give Nemiga a little flavor of what the aggression can look like. But Lollipop, Joe, and Speedak with Box to finish on the 5th one. G2 running into what was a killing field on that A site. And we've seen Nemiga there with bodies off the bat. So not a shocker to see them all in position. Lollipop again, just whatever you throw at his, he's hitting the headshots.
Kind of surprised to see them try to continue to abuse Connector because Nemiga's passive setups on the A side have been really perimeter focused, and they've kept the long distance away from that all of these fights, and it's just for the most part they've had 1 or 2 rounds within Connector early on, but definitely not on the anti-ecos. Their setups are almost always the same. Lollipop's already getting so much info on the A ramp, and they're opping here. And G2, they just do another slow default, trying to win in this position. And they should win in all sorts of rounds. But this is one where we've clearly seen a lot of great success for Nemiga. When they have space, they know how to really create like kind of an avalanche effect in the round. So maybe there's just a lot of pressure here on the first kill. But it looks like G2, first and foremost, wanted to just put something down at mid before moving back into a full A exec. Lollipop up to bat again.
Manek peeks into it, headshot immediately with Speedak over the shoulder, giving us another op kill. A 5v3 for Nemiga. Nico, he's going to try to take this all back, but the Opera's already in position, hits the shot he needs to. Nexa, 1 versus 4. 40 seconds, and a Molotov at the feet of Speedak pushes him into the open, but Nexa can't double down, and we've got Nemiga with 4 map points.
So, quick 2-0, boys.
Yeah, maybe, Frankie. Maybe. It's crazy to think this event already so many upsets. We had Godsent over Astralis, which obviously that's at the very top. We had Spirit over FaZe that I think is kind of them cementing themselves. But was there any gap bigger than what we expected between G2 and Nemiga? Launders chose this series so that we'd have a fast 2-0. That's the spoiler.
I chose this series so I could learn more about Nemiga.
Yeah.
But I didn't think we'd be learning this much.
It's crazy stuff. G2 even learning a lesson, but it's not over. They've got bodies on the A site. They're trying to find themselves deeper within it. Speedak has a bit of an angle over top of the smoke, and MDS, he just creeps back into the spawn, but the frag grenade, that forces Hunter out, and he takes a player with him. Kenny S headshot. It's a bit of an HP advantage here for Nemiga. They've got a flash on Speedak. And Joe, he's rounding the corners of the CT spawn. Kenny S goes for the peek, takes the head clean off, and a little rifle work from Kenny could be enough. But Speedak has looked fantastic since he's come back into the server. He's sitting at 16-8, and it's Kenny S to cool him off a bit. 3 kills for Kenny, 12 rounds for G2, and still a chance for this to go to OT.
Overwhelming amount of cash left over for Nemiga to try whatever they want again. If they want to do 2 ops, indulge. If they want to go for an aggressive pick, they can as well. They can buy back on the following round, the next round as well. So
I'm gonna bless you. I'm gonna call it now. I think at some point during this series, Nemiga Gaming is gonna go for the 3 AWP because that has happened with them before, and sure. I wouldn't deny it to them. They love a bit of BM, I think. Though no P90s yet.
Right. Not yet. We haven't got to that point, right? Maybe once they're about to close out a second map in the series. I think even at this point, G2 are making them a little nervous because we've got a bit of a comeback. I can't believe I have to say that. A comeback from G2 to try and close this, but a missed shot from Joe. That gives Nexa good spacing. He falls into sandwich, looks to peel away from this. Keep your eyes on the radar. Kenny S, he was about to go through T-spawn, maybe thinking about playing for middle, but the bomb's not really for him. It's deeper, closer, opposite side of default, and good thing Kenny doesn't leave because he delivers another kill. And he has been huge in these last 2 rounds post-plants. MDS hits the dink. Nexa, he's still standing. Speedak's gonna tap that bomb, and Nexa gets the double. It is still G2 taking back rounds. I'm not surprised that they refuse to go down without a fight here.
finally, they're trying to turn the tempo up a bit. It feels like getting the bomb down was like their first biggest problem, but in the post-plants, they have found success. Still very, very scary. I mean, it's not a game where I feel like Nemiga has gotten lucky to get here. It's another one of, it's like kind of like that FaZe Spirit match in the first round.
Exactly.
So
it feels like FaZe Spirit, but with a bigger gap in expectation.
they actually have 2, they're going with 2 MAC-10s. Yo's buying into an op, or sorry, a FAMAS with no armor. My God, what a time to invest.
Yuck.
Wow, this could really cost him.
Let's see. He's going to get the dink, dies out to the MAC-10. Nexa even.
Oh, that's maybe a mistake.
Dude,
I mean,
3
they
MAC-10s.
died all to the MAC-10s, and they had a FAMAS with no head armor. I mean, the FAMAS isn't killing anybody one shot in the first place.
Speedak's going to answer 2 nice headshots from him, but Kenny S is off, which has been pretty killer.
Oof, are they going to toss this away? That's rough. They put themselves in a position where they have no armor. High potential for match point, confident call for G2, and finally we're seeing some fast rounds. They have so many good fast strats, like my favorite thing about G2, but they played out the second half with, I guess, just so quietly. All of these very, very slow rounds where Nemiga were getting very comfortable.
Yep. And then suddenly G2 cranked the dial. See if Speedak's boost can come into fruition. There's already 2 players extended. Dude, if he doesn't wait, if he just peeks out, he's going to find players with their back turned. Oh, but he holds off. Now they're just going to keep their heads on a swivel. Once that mid-window smoke fades, Box, he could offer something. Amanek, no longer feeling comfortable in that position with his teammates, gets into the ladder room, takes a player down. And as if things weren't already dire enough for Nemiga trying to close this first map, we'll see if Lollipop can manage. He swaps over to the AK-47. That's a little more firepower for Nemiga to work with. And, well, he's going to go out and challenge. A huge challenge versus the bomb carrier. He's taken down to 15 HP, but Lollipop now with 29 kills is taken out of the situation. There's a CT close on sight. Kenny S just barrel stuffs him straight between the eyes, and the peak goes back to Box with just the scout. Amanek taps, 40 seconds, and the bomb goes down. It's Amanek in the 3K, Box wrapping all the way around from Cat, and Amanek, well, he's in the safety of the site.
This just burns time off the clock. Amanek, he's looking for a timing, but he's not peeking off of triple. This is everything, looking for the fray. Oh my goodness, Box, he pulls out a gun, jumps, and ends up dying. This is G2 to take it to overtime.
Yep.
After 11 to 15.
Throw it to the break. So it seems we need a little OT to decide this first map between G2 Esports and Nemiga. And they had themselves enough rounds to try and close this, but they let G2 get back into it, and that makes me a little nervous for them.
Of course. The longer the game goes on, the more powerful G2 will get. And now that they have an OT, it should be very scary for Nemiga. If Nemiga win this map at this point, they are just clearly the better team. It doesn't have to do with how G2 rolled in a bet on the wrong side this morning, how they're a little bit off. None of that will matter. The OT will say a lot. 16K, of course. So it'll be all buys all the time. Which, again, should be pretty scary. G2 will go back into a slow passive round here with Kenny S taking the first aggressive opening look up the A ramp. No one peeks him from the right side. And Hunter, he's made his way into window. This is where it gets terrifying for the CTs. And of course, as well, the B push gets shut down. Nexa will pick off box.
Lollipop in a crucial multi-kill position. Either he goes down with one, and they swarm this A site, or he delivers on more of it. But as he tries to retreat and take the more passive position, he loses half his health. I mean, technically, he's lucky to still be alive, but it's not a comfortable position for Nemiga at all. We've got everybody from G2 looking to sink their teeth into this A site. Nico's given a little bit of cover on the side of the smoke. He beckons them in. He welcomes the push. MDS, he just cut this down from the catwalk, but Kenny S kills a player on site. Lollipop's gonna slip back into the smoke. That bomb is on the ground. Now picked back up. Lollipop strikes down one player, but can't quite whip his aim around it. MDS, he's gonna fall to Hunter, who had pushed deep into the CT spawn. G2 with the first round of overtime.
It's a bit more of what we expect. G2 with a bit of ingenuity, moving fast to get map control secretly and privately. Hunter getting into the window, and Nemiga not catching a break, even dying, going with the big flank through B-apps. It was a big trap there by Nexa. Now, what is the strategy going to be for both sides? I think Nemiga may be inclined to try something a little bit more aggressive. Joe, I believe, misses the jump. It looked like he was aiming for it. Instead, we'll take the op into underpass, which is a hot adjustment. And it'd be funny if he got rewarded, actually. There's a chance. Depends where. Oh, okay. Looks like he's going to easily get the soft frag on Hunter, falling back in this default. And this double underpass setup is working out wonderfully.
Two-man advantage, leaving Nemiga an open route to move those pieces back around through the B apartments. So there's a delayed moment where G2 could catch them. Amanek, yeah, he's going to predict that they come back to the B site. Joe drops down. He definitely heard that second set of feet just a few seconds later. Amanek finding the first one, peeks into the second. He has opened up this B site, but it pushes Kenny S into an awkward position. He needs to grab that bomb and somehow come join his teammate on B. There is no smoke at the top of connector.
Oh, they're
and
not
MDS, he's watching it. So Kenny S, he's going to get a fight through that. But actually, MDS just gives him the angle. B site is very much compromised at the moment. Kenny S missing a shot, but luckily for him, so does Speedak. He follows up with the second. That's going to leave both the players for G2 at 3/4 their health. And what do they have for the retake? Well, smoke grenades, flashbangs, an incendiary to throw, and a late apartment wraparound coming through from Lollipop, the player with 100 HP. Kenny S sees him, snipes him, stops him, and MDS jumps out from the window. A sick adjustment, but Kenny S, back from bench, loses his head. MDS, crucial kills for the clutch. It's Nemiga to tie at 16.
Well, that's a beautiful punish from MDS. Everyone contributing there except for Speedak. They all really got an important and key frag. A nice attempt from Amanek here in this position. Plays it beautifully to not go past this wall, realizing they're going to come back and try to recollect some map control. And this was all from the 3v5 to begin with. But again, just a beautiful punish at the end there from MDS. I think in Kenny S's mind, he can take that no-scope and then crouch again. But MDS hits him immediately after popping up. And it looks like the same exact setup with the flash this time.
And he sees the feet. Easy. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. Hey, buddy, you got nowhere to go. God. He tries to get flashed out. Doesn't even look. He's just like, if I ignore it, it's not happening. Okay. There are no monsters in the underpass. Of course.
I can't believe you didn't peek him after the flash went out.
He just
kept bouncing.
He's playing hopscotch on his own. All right.
No, he's playing leapfrog with a unicorn is what he was playing.
Yeah. Hunter, he's going to slip through jungle. Lollipop, 32 kills off of that one versus Amanek. And it's Nexa to then counter him. MDS down cat. Nexa's going to prioritize the peak. MDS catching him off with the position. Flashbang to challenge Kenny, but there it is. The last shot and the last round win of that first half of overtime. G2 will have a slight edge. A flawless CT side, and this one's over.
How are we feeling about the next half, Frankie? Is this like G2 winning this game, or is Lollipop going to run up the A ramp again?
I think Lollipop is going to run up the A ramp again. Whether it's successful this time is all down to G2. Obviously, that's how the game works. I just hope that G2 have learned the lesson now. Right, take it seriously, boys. Come on.
That's a very good point. Like, it's funny how many times Nemiga got away with the same exact openings, light on grenades, focusing on individual efforts, which is all well and good when Lollipop is having such a great game, but at the same time, he should get off when he tries that. That didn't happen until later.
And they did chuck a molly straight down ramp. They ain't having none of it.
Box, nice kill, man. Just drops into the A site like it's nothing, but Kenny S flicks up and he takes down a massive scalp and Lollipop. Frag grenade to the back of the site. Boom, on the money. Nico gonna reestablish a player advantage. And then he keeps his crosshair honed in on Connector. Luckily for him, he's got Hunter inside of windowsill, making sure that his back is not exposed. So Nico just needs to focus and fixate and frag once they decide to walk into him. He's going to flush their feet out, or at least confirm his intuition. There is a player in here. He could just go ahead and spam the corner. But he waits, and MDS repositions slightly. 45 seconds with the bomb inside of Palace, and Kenny S has actually moved things, interestingly, from back site over towards ramp. I think this opens up Speedak, perhaps, because now he has a line of sight onto Hunter, who's going to come peeking out from jungle, and however, he finds him unprepared. Hunter, I think, is just given a bit of a chance, and that chance turns into two kills. Joe, 20 seconds remaining. Kenny S over on Tetris, bomb dropped on Palace. Not ideal for Nemiga, but a great round from G2.
It was definitely an interesting mid-round opportunity with the duels that went down in Connector. Well, everybody on the CT side over 20 kills at this point. It's kind of funny how this game has panned out. Nice rifle work here from Hunter to the top of Connector. And we go over towards Nemiga. It's a little bit more top-heavy in terms of their frag distribution. Incredibly so with Lollipop at 32, Box at 22, and everyone else below 20.
Box sprays down Kenny. Nemiga not wanting to let this one dry up.
Opening kill percentage for both Box and Lollipop, and both P halves so far have been fantastic.
Nico another headshot. This is looking good for G2. One more round, of course, and they take the win. We had 8 rounds in a row from Nemiga on that CT side. 4 map points that they let slip through their fingertips. And now Joe also dying at the hands of Nico. He extinguishes the fire, but not the entire threat. Nemiga still heavy in middle. 50 seconds to work with. Nexa prying eyes towards top mid. Finds Speedak, just trying to leave. He wanted to walk away, and Box is going to get checked by Amanek. Now, if Lollipop, who has been phenomenal on some entries, can't deliver this clutch, then we have Nemiga with a heartbreaking loss on map 1. He's got 33 kills across all of these rounds, and 30 seconds left to play this one. Smoke grenade on Nexa. He's just going to tuck himself behind this ticket booth. And if Lollipop plants on Connector side, then he's going to be okay. But anything that's exposed to CT, without going for that first peek, he would have been dead. He calls the bluff, and there's no catwalk peek. That is a moment of relief for Lollipop, because now he knows he can retract himself into a more comfortable post plant. However, my question falls back to Nexa's smoke. that in and of itself could create this moment of pandemonium. And with a flashbang on Amanek, that too could just make this clutch attempt from Lollipop way too much to handle. We'll see. Smoke goes down, and it's the op shot of all things to just keep it nice and clean. G2 recover after facing 4 map points and win Mirage in overtime.
Read beautifully by G2 and a very nice attempt by Nemiga. It didn't feel like that's the story we were going to tell when the score was 15-11 up for them. And it's an absolutely tragic state of affairs that it did go this far and G2 won. But once we got to OT, surely there's a little bit more faith in G2 that they were going to play more like themselves.
Are they going to play like themselves on Dust 2? Well, the jury's still out on that one, but the jury will return after this break. That's us, by the way, as we decide who played that map better. First map Mirage made me nostalgic for the good old days because Lollipop repeatedly dry walking out of ARAM was like when people didn't lock their doors and just you could pop by your neighbours unannounced and everything was fine. Unfortunately, the kind of neighbour Lollipop is the one that will come out and kill all of you. So sadly for G2, it was a little bit of a slow start and they really had to pull out all the stops to get on with it. They didn't even look happy when they won that map, and it's probably no surprise, Launders, because that was sloppy.
I think you put it perfectly. There's one too many gangsters in the neighborhood, and they were a little bit too trusting, but for no reason. What does it cost you to throw an incendiary down early on for the sake of conditioning? And that for G2 followed over in the second half. It felt like they couldn't get the bomb planted, but would repeatedly try the same strategy over and over again, as if they had a bone to pick with the way Nemiga were playing. Like, we want to prove that we can beat them in this way first before moving on. But they finally woke up, they switched gears, and they started to turn up the tempo, and that's what took it over the line.
Lollipop, why couldn't he be stopped?
I don't know, man. Just individual aim right off the gate was impressive, right? Like, mechanically speaking, spot on. First bullet accuracy was through the roof. And then I think a part of it, as you've just touched on, was like that lack of pressure coming out of the CTs at the start. You know, if you want to shut down confidence, then make sure you do it at the beginning of the first map. Not the case. We literally saw the first gun round. He's just afforded the ability to walk out ramp. They're sitting behind boxes, just twiddling their thumbs. And, well, he was wasting no time. Started off really strong and kept that momentum through the entirety of Mirage.
And Coach Keeper, he played for 2-3 rounds. They won all the rounds that the coach was playing.
Undefeated with Coach Keeper, he was amazing. I mean, first of all, to pick up the op in his second professional match ever, and it was actually pointed out to me on Twitter that this wouldn't be the first time that G2 potentially lose to a team with a coach at going back to the summit. So there's another chance for that. Maybe that got in their own heads. But they did great with him, and I was just shocked to see him pick up the AWP because, again, second professional match on record.
Well, we've been asking this all day, who is the Emmy of each team, and clearly the Emmy in Nemiga.
He won the Emmy, yeah.
His Coach Keeper. All right, I'm sorry, I'm really obsessed with Emmy. He's now my favourite player. It has to be after yesterday's predictions. Just kind of looking through my notes here as well. I mean, it feels like Nemiga actually, some of their teamwork was actually much more on point than I perhaps gave them credit for in the pre-match.
They did show that they could play a certain style of CS and get away with it. And to be fair to them, I think it did say at the beginning of the game, you know, this is something Furious said when coming to play top teams. Don't play the same style that they want you to play. Take those risks, highlight the individual skill, because the longer the round goes on, the deeper the game on the T side versus the CT side, like the harder it's going to be. The more protocols they have in place, the more experience and reps versus better teams they have.
And this is going to be really interesting going to Dust 2. It's Dust 2. It's a lot hotter than the Netherlands.
Dust 3.
Because we're probably going to see a lot more of those double AWP setups coming out from Nemiga. They obviously love to splash the cash, but will it cost them after the break as we head to Dust 2?